mentioned, I'm 100% I agree with him. And he mentioned actually we can do Islamic finance at social level, or that's called Islamic social finance. Okay, but I mean, we have to move on from what they call is, 100% mimicking from the conventional. At least, you know, we try to embed it, some what they call the innovated some product and services by, what they call is by ourselves as well. Okay, so that is, the basic idea. Or there's, I talk about the two approach, Sharia compliant approach and Sharia based approach, and so on and so forth. So now, before we get into, what they call is appreciate Islamic finance, we need to understand some fundamentals. What they call is how, in the past, I know that you learned before this kind of the, what they call is knowledge, but this one I just want to highlight. Okay, maybe my approach is a little bit different. I think is everyone, you know what's the Mudarabah, for example, but how to structure the Mudarabah or how to understand the Mudarabah is very important. Actually, when I started my PhD even in 2009, we confused Mudarabah, Murabaha, you know. So what's Mudarabah was Musharaka was Murabaha, we confused actually. But after understanding this cause, then I really appreciate, okay, how we're going to differentiate this kind of the contract, because it's very important to understand the modus operandi of our historical product actually. Okay, so let me start. Can you see my screen, Dr. Dimas?
Yes, clearly. Yeah. Yes, clear.
Very good, very good. Thank you. Thanks for the, response. Okay, introduction to historical Islamic finance product 1. Why I separated the two? The first one will be like the basic, and the two will be more on the application to the Islamic banking and the finance. So now we try to look at the first one will be Mudarabah and the modus operandi. I advise all the students, I advise all the students, we should focus on, we should learn with modus operandi. Okay, modus operandi meaning that the structure of the Mudarabah, for example, then so that we can appreciate. Okay, so classical Mudarabah was arrangement between, with what they call the principal Rabbul Mal, okay, entrusted his capital with an agent. Okay, so Mudarib who was to trade with it, then return to the investor the original capital plus previously agreed upon a share of the profit. Okay, so meaning that as a reward for his entrepreneurship, the agent received the remaining share of their profit. So meaning that, okay, for example, one party, what they call is contributing the all the capital, and another party is just contributing his time or effort or and so on and so forth. So in general, profit sharing occur and loss sharing according to the rule. Profit is following mutual agreement, okay, and the loss, what they call is follow the capital. So you see here the most important thing here, they didn't say profit must follow the capital. If they follow the capital, so meaning that the agent are not able to get anything. Why? Because why like that? Because what they call is if based on what they call is a capital contribution, okay, capital contribution. Why I want to say this one, actually the agent, they will not get anything. So here they say mutual agreement, okay, mutual agreement, but the loss has to follow the capital invested. This is the rule for Muda. I think you know this one, okay, you know this one, but I want to just highlight as a second time actually. Okay, so this is called the modus operandi there, student. Whatever the structure, okay, whatever the structure, you have to, what they call is, if you draw, let's say when you come to exam or it is come to any explanation, okay, if you draw with modus operandi, it is very clear, very clear. For example, the principal, okay, principal or the Rabbul Mal, investing, the money to the agent. Okay, agent. That's why this is called a trust contract as well. Because why? The agent must be very trustworthy. We cannot give our money to simply to anyone else. Must be trustworthy, or it has to be responsible and the guy. Okay. So if there is any profit, okay, profit, they can share according to what they call is the rule. Okay. So the alpha will be determined how much the agent will be get it. For example, maybe agent will get 30%. okay, 30%, but what they call the capital provider will get 70%, for example. But any loss is belong to the principal. Okay, any loss is belong to the principal. This is called the modus operandi, dear student. Okay, modus operandi. Then there are two partners, Rabbul Mal and the agent and the Mudarib. The entire capital is provided by the principal. Okay, agent contribute only his time, effort, knowledge. So he doesn't contribute to partnership with the capital. Okay, if he contributes the capital, it's not Mudarabah anymore. Okay, in the simple Mudarabah, okay, I call the simple Mudarabah or multiple Mudarabah. Later on, we will come back. Okay, so agent taking the capital and they're trying to generate some profit with it. Okay, venture is concluded when the agent return what they call his original capital to the principal. Okay, so this is exactly what between Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and Khadija Radhiyallahu Anhu, for example. Okay, meaning that Khadija Radhiyallahu Anhu is providing what they call is the capital, but Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is as an agent. Okay, I mean, for example, he taking the capital from Khadija Radhiyallahu Anhu, then and the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they're trying to, generate some profit. So if there is any profit, share according to mutual agreement. Okay, but in the Mudarabah, it has to be based on mutual agreement, not capital invested. Why? Okay, why? Because one party is not contributing any capital. So meaning that in this case, they have to follow mutual agreement. So mutual agreement in the form of percentage, and also is clearly stating in the contract at the beginning of the venture. Okay, in the beginning of the venture, they have to discuss how many percent they have to share together. They have to share 30, 70, or 20, or 80, or 60, 40, or 50, 50, you know, it's depending on their mutual agreement. Okay, mutual agreement. So it has to be based on mutual agreement. So this is, is important. Then if any loss, entire pecuniary and the losses, meaning that pecuniary, meaning that money losses, to the principal. Okay, principal, agent goes unpaid to his effort, but doesn't suffer from any pecuniary and the losses. So meaning that there is no monetary losses. Okay, monetary losses for what they call is for the other guy actually. Okay, to other guy only. What they call is the whoever invested in this capital. Then what they call is taking the monetary losses, but the other guy will not take any monetary losses, dear student. Okay, dear student. So this is how the arrangement. So in general, profit and the loss sharing done according to Hanifite rule. You see, Hanifite rule. Profit follow mutual agreement. Loss follow the capital. You see, Hanafi is what they call profit is follow the mutual agreement. Loss following the capital. Since in the Mudarabah, entire capital has been provided by the principal, entire pecuniary losses is happen to him. Principal may lose his entire investment in the venture, but we have to remember that principal's liability is limited in the sense that he doesn't responsible for the agent in transaction with third parties. Okay, so indeed, third party may not even aware investors existence. Sorry. So responsibility for all this contract with third parties residing on the agent. So I think you know what's the limited liability, dear student. Okay, limited liability. So meaning that he only invests up to, let's say he invested 10,000. Okay, so what they call is what they call the principal. Okay, limit what they call is the how much he can lose maximum. They can lose up to like 10,000 actually. If more than that, with any third parties, then supposed to be the agent for responsible for that. Okay, so principal may lose all the capital, not beyond the original investment. So third party not aware what they call investors' existence. Okay, because Mudarib also may happen the loss with negligence. Okay, let's say I told you don't invest my money this way, for example. Let's say don't invest to this kind of the commodities, for example, but you did, or because of your mistake or because of your negligence, then what they call the Mudarib, they have to be responsible for that as well, their student. So this is what they call is a full, what they call is explanation on what is the mudarabah, their student. So here you have to remember that the profit following on mutual agreement. Okay, mutual agreement, loss following on the capital. Okay, so this is the features of mudarabah contract. Now we try to look at simple Inan partnership. Okay, Inan partnership. So you may thought, sir, what's the Inan actually? There are two forms of the partnership. One of them will be Inan, another one is Mufawada, another one is Wujud. There are three different partnerships of the contract. Okay, partnership of the contract. There will be like the three, okay, different what they call is the partnership and the contract. So the most important features of the Inan partnership, okay, Inan partnership is given the permission granted to each partner to invest different amounts. Okay, so in the partnership, let's say there will be A and B, for example. Okay, A and B. So meaning that A and B, they can contribute different amount. Okay, by the same token, equal amount of investment, but unequal profit distribution also permitted. Wow. What does it mean? This I will explain after this, dear student. So meaning that one party contributing 60%, another party contributing, let's say 40%. So what will happen in this case? When you come to the profit, they, supposed to be, what they call the profit distribution on this. But according to here, they're saying that this can be even 50-50, meaning that what they call is equal amount of investment, but unequal distribution of the profit also permitted. Okay, and also more importantly, partners don't force to invest their entire property. Okay, entire property. So in this simple Inan partnership, the agent looking for greater per share of the profit. Okay, then it's possible to in mudarabah, because in the mudarabah, he will get only for his entrepreneurship skill. But in the Inan partnership, he will get for what they call his capital plus for his entrepreneurship. So that's why he getting more in the Inan partnership. Okay, so which and of course bearing the greater risk as well. So he does this by contributing to the capital of the partnership in addition to his entrepreneurship. So you can see that here, yes, they will contribute some capital as well as addition to his entrepreneurship as well. So what does it mean is that their student, that's why I said it's easy to understand by doing this. Okay, by doing this kind of the modus operandi, then 100% it will be easy to understand it, their student. Now we try to look at this modus operandi, principle 1 and the principle 2. Okay, so meaning that let's say this party is contributing 60%. Let's say this party is contributing 40%. But who's managing? Okay, who's managing? For example, who's managing this project, for example? But here is we are saying that principle 1 is contributing 60%, principle 2 is contributing 40%. Now they're combining together, it managed by one or the both principles. So meaning that the business can manage by both, or it can be by only one. Let's say here, let's say principle 2 is managing the project. This is called a sleeping partner. Sleeping partner meaning that he is just, contribute, but doesn't do any business deal with this in this project. For example, what they call is this one contributing the 60%, this one contributing 40%. But this partner is doing nothing. But this partner is managing more actually. Okay, this is managing the business, sorry, not managing more, managing the business. So in this situation, what will happen? Okay, if any profit, okay, based on mutual agreed. Okay, mutual and agreed according to Hanified rule. Okay, Hanified rule. So I will explain after this why, because another rule is saying that it has to be based on capital contribution. You have to understand the differences between these two. One of them saying that is, what they call is mutually agreed. But one of them they based on, for example, like Imam Shafi or like Hanbali or other school of the thought is based on the capital. Okay, based on the capital. But according to Hanafi, Hanafi school of the thought, it has to be based on mutually agreed. What's the differences between their students? If based on capital contribution, if any profit, they have to share 40 and 60, okay, according to capital contribution. But you have to remember, dear student, this party not only contributing, but also managing the business. So it can be based on mutual agreement. So meaning that even though they contribute 60 and 40, it can be 50 and 50. Why he getting more and the 10%? Okay, more 10%, because, okay, he is contributing capital plus his entrepreneurship. So that is based on mutual agreement, dear student. Okay, but the loss, any school of the thought, regardless of Hanafi or any school of the thought, it has to be based on capital contribution actually. Okay, I mean to capital contribution. So meaning that you have to understand the differences between mutual agreement and capital contribution. So meaning that if loss 100% according to capital contribution, 60 and the 40. Okay, but when it's come to profit, that can be, I mean, mutually agreed by both parties. Okay, if you have any question here, you can ask. Actually, I like to more interaction session rather than just one side and communication actually. So I mean, this is what they call the important, okay, important and differences between these two actually. Okay, these two. So if you have any question, then I can answer. Okay, I can answer if you have any question there, student. Okay, so this is, I mean, how we are doing to understand this Inan and structure. Okay, Inan structure. So there will be two parties. I told you just now as well. Both parties contribute unequal amount of the capital. One of them 60, another one, for example, let's say 40. So agent contributes similar capital than the other partner. Okay, other partner. So, and also his time, knowledge, and effort. So the agent here, let's say, contributing only 40%. Sorry, what happened here? 40%, another party contributing 60%, for example. Then agent taking all the capital physically and they generate the profit. Venture is concluded when the agent returns back original capital to the principal. If there is a profit, share according to mutual agreement in the form of percentage by Hanafis and the school, and according to the other school based on capital contribution. So why like this, dear student? I told you just now as well, if it is based on, if it's based on what they call capital contribution, this guy is do nothing. Okay, let's say A do nothing, but B do all the job. All the management job, dealing with the customer, you know, he's the one who doing the business. If it's just based on capital contribution, then it's fair to the B. Okay, it's fair and adil. Okay, I mean, is there any adil to the B? So in order to have this and justice or this adil actually, so that's why according to Imam Hafi, it can be based on mutual agreement. Okay, so loss, I mean, regardless of all the school of the thought I told you just now, is based on capital contribution. Okay, capital contribution. So here, limited to the third party is unlimited, meaning that if any loss, I mean, that beyond the what they call is they invested, if any loss, they have to responsible for that actually. So when they're going to be terminated, if one party is die or insane, Inan has to be terminated. Of course, this one is as usual. More than two partners, what will happen? Partnership will be continued, but what they call the died and insane partnership will be inherited to his family members according to what they call is we have the inheritance and the law. Okay, according to inheritance law, it has to be contributed to and his family members. Okay, so this is, I mean, what they call features of Inan partnership. This is one of the second and the Inan partnership. Now we try to look at Mufawada. Actually, Mufawada is, also form of the partnership. But in the partners contribute exactly equal amount of the ventures and they share the profit as well as the losses. and also exactly in the same proportion. So what does it mean is this one? Let's say there are 10 students, okay? All of them is contribute 2,000, for example, okay? 2,000. So meaning that all together will be 20,000. So each one of them has to contribute exactly equal amount of the venture and share the profit as well as the losses, and exactly in the equal proportions. So this is called the Mufawada, dear student. But this one I think is a little bit difficult to do, or I mean, I will tell you later which one is more applicable for Islamic banking and the finance, for example. Okay, in the simple Mufawada, okay, simple Mufawada, I mean, all the partners, they have to contribute exactly I mean, I don't want to show the modus operandi because it is understandable. All partners will be contribute exactly equal amount of to the venture and share the profit as well as the losses. Okay, in exactly the same
Sorry,
proportion.
Dr. Buerhan.
Yes.
Sorry for interrupting, Doctor. According to your understanding, Mufawadah and Inan just now, which one among these two contracts that has been widely used by the Islamic banking in Turkey in particular, whether in the mode of Mufawadah or Inan?
Just 1 second. Hello.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Buerhan hocam.
Yes.
Merhaba, müsait misiniz?
Dersim var şu anda.
Tamam, daha sonra arayayım ben sizi. Peki.
Kimsiniz?
Benim adım Raşit. Atsimi'den arıyorum. Ahmet Güven Bey verdi numarayı.
Tamam. Dersim var şu anda. Tamam mı?
Tamam, peki.
Tamam,
Peki.
tamam. Sorry. Sorry, I mean, there is some important call. You see, what they call, I mean, that's interesting question as well, Dr. Dimas, because just now also I mentioned, okay, I mean, this we are looking at the historical ones actually, okay, historical ones. What they call is the historical, I mean, the product and the services. That's why, I mean, when you come to in the Turkey or Malaysia or in any part of the world, I mean, as you know, majority is follow Murabaha and also like Ijara, you know, or like very basic, I mean, the contract actually. So meaning that I will come to after this as well. So I mean, they're supposed to be, okay, to me, it has to be later on, we will come like expanded Inan actually, okay, expanded Inan. So we will come to that because why? Okay, because you have maybe 20,000, maybe I have 5,000, for example, maybe another student has 1,000, for example. So we have unequal amount of the deposit with the bank. So the bank will be as an agent, for example, because do you know that, I mean, you know, actually, definitely, the bank also, they have to contribute. I mean, you got my point or not, actually, because many people, they thought we can do Mudarabah in banking. No, actually, the bank also, they have to contribute some capital. So it is more on the Inan, actually. You got my point on that. But I mean, the form of the businesses. But of course, whether they are following this one or not, of course, they are not following. But I mean, it should be the form of the structure should be based on Inan. Because all depositors, they have different amount of the money. And the bank also, they have to contribute some capital, as you know, according to Basel III requirement, actually. Okay, so meaning that, yes, so this is, I mean, I'm still trying to explain some historical aspects of the products, actually. Thank you, Dr. Dimas. Okay, so Mufawada, of course, I told you this one, everyone contribute exactly and same. This is very difficult to, maybe this one we can apply in social finance. Maybe let's say each student can contribute 10 or 10 million rupee, Indian rupee or cents, so on and so forth. Then I mean, then you can set up some, this is applicable for more on the Islamic social finance activity. Okay, social finance. So this is, I mean, something is, they are not really apply for, I mean, what they call the formal financial institutions, actually. Okay, so when you come to Mufawada, okay, both parties contribute equal amount of the capital, and the profit and the loss contributed exactly same as well. Okay, so what they call liability to third party, again, unlimited, meaning that if beyond the original investment, they have to responsible, I mean, the parties, they have to responsible for beyond what they call is their investment. So termination will be, of course, mutual consent of the partners, expiration of the contract, accomplishment of the aim. I think this one is when you finish the project, for example, if equality is capital is lapse. You see, let's say one party contributing more, then it's not Mufawada anymore. It has to be, I mean, what they call is all parties, they have to contribute equally. Okay, or I mean, if two partners, if one party is die or insane, sorry, this should be Mufawada. Sorry, Mufawada must be undetermined. Okay, then if more than two parties, partnership will be, it's same as the Inan actually. Okay, so this is not really important there, student. Now we try to look at multiple, where is the, oh, I think I just combined these two together. Okay, this should be, I mean, the multiple mudarabah supposed to be the two, I mean, historical product, because this one more on the application or expansion of the simple mudarabah actually. So since Islamic law of the partnership allowing the agent to pool the capital of the several partners, total capital can be entrusted with a single agent, okay, can be considerably, can be enhanced. So meaning that we can enhance what they call is the simple mudarabah to multiple mudarabah. So this brings us the multiple mudarabah. The term of multiple here is referring to multitude of principles, meaning that there are many principles. That's why we call multiple mudarabah. So the term of the multiple here referring to the number of principles. So to who pool their capital and entrusting does pool the capital, I mean, called the single mudarib as the agent. So I told you just now as well, this one again, I mean, multiple mudarabah, we still cannot apply for banking, in my opinion. Why? Because in the multiple mudarabah, the what they call the mudarib or the what they call the agent does not contribute anything. So again, this one we can apply in Islamic social finance. Let's say among the one of the friend or among the class, one of the guy, let's say, has very good business skill, but he doesn't have the money. Then maybe the student contribute to this guy. Okay, you do the business. If any profit, you will share with us, for example. Then, I mean, what they call the agent is does not contribute anything. So meaning that, so in this will be, I mean, what they call many multiple, what they call principles, entrusting the money to single mudarib. Okay, so the great achievement of multiple mudarabah and Inan, it has been made possible the various merchant, okay, various merchant to pool the capital to finance an agent. Conversely, a principal, okay, is also permitted to finance multiple and agent. That's why diversifying the risk. So what does it mean is that, dear student, let's say I have 10,000 USD, for example. Then I can give to one agent, let's say 5,000. I can give to another agent, let's say 3,000. Okay, I can give to another agent, let's say 2,000, for example. Then meaning that I'm diversifying my risk. Maybe A is success, or maybe B is success, or the C is success, for example. Okay, so meaning that this is, I mean, one of the benefit of multiple mudarabah. Now we try to look at this one. I think you see principle 1, 2, and like N. Yeah, many and mudarib, I mean, what they call rabbul mal and can be. So they're contributing to the agent. Okay, agent. This one you can say like Islamic mudarabah house, for example. Let's say Kuwait finance house. They have, let's say, Kuwait finance house. I don't know whether in KFH in Indonesia or not, but let's say we forming a house. Okay, house, for example, like this can be also like mutual fund. Okay, Islamic mutual fund, for example, we are contributing to the agent, then the agent will be what they call is do the business. Okay, when you come to why, sir, cannot we apply for banking? Because in the banking, the agent or the bank, they have to contribute as well. So this one, I think we will come back later on. The Inan, that's why I said the Inan will be more applicable for what they call is banking industry. Just now, Dr. Dimas asking that questions as well. Okay, so the agent will be like, and if any profit, mutual agreement, dear student. He didn't say capital contribution. If mutual, I mean, based on capital contribution, this guy will not get anything. So it has to be based on mutual agreement. So I hope that you understand the difference between mutual agreement and capital contribution. Okay, capital contribution. So this is, I mean, how we can share the profit. Okay, how share the profit between these two parties, actually, their student. Okay, so profit is, I mean, what they call mutual agreement, but the loss according to a capital contribution. Okay, capital contribution. Now let me start. Okay, let me start. So in the partnership allowing agent to pool the capital with several and the principals. So total capital entrusted with a single agent can be enhanced. So the purpose will be economies of and scale. I think this one you already learned in economics, dear student. There is called economics of the scale and economics of the scope, for example. Economics of the scale will be like you are by producing more, you're reducing the unit cost. Unit cost for per unit, for example, cost for per unit, sorry. Okay, so meaning that, let's say, basically is economics of scale, the purpose will be to reduce the cost, okay, to reduce the cost. Then the economics of the scope will be what they call is you are producing one line and easy to produce another line, for example. That's called the economics of the scope, but economics of the scale will be you reducing the cost. Okay, reducing cost. So sign a separate agreement with all the capital provider with one agent. So profit will be according to mutual agreement. Their loss is borne by principals according to their capital contribution. So the agent not liable for any pecuniary losses. Okay, so these are the features of multiple mudarabah, dear student. Okay, now we come to the last one, then I will explain after that, birth of Islamic banking. Okay, I think is today even not will be as Dr. said, it will be, wow, it's almost 40 minutes. Wow, I didn't know it's already 40 minutes actually. Subhanallah. Okay, so let me explain this one, then I try to be fast. Okay, so now is 4:10 in Jakarta now. Now let me give me another 10 to 15 minutes, then I try to finish it. Okay, Dr. Dimas. Okay,
yes,
thank
please,
you,
doctor.
Thank you. So expanded Inan that permitted the active Inan partner to enter into the separate partnership with the third person. Okay, third person. If the new partnership is what they call is unrelated to the basic activity of the Inan, no need to obtain approval from other Inan partners. If the new partnership is related, then the permission is needed, for example. Okay, so the active Inan partner can mingle capital of the partnership with his own capital, so that greater bargaining power with and the third and the party. So the active partner can use the partnership, a partnership capital to establish another Inan partnership with third party. So complicated. How? Let's look at this modus operandi. I told you modus operandi will be help you to understand any complicated structure of Islamic product and services. Okay, let's say capital 1 and capital 2. They originally form simple and Inan. Okay, here is this part you can say the simple and Inan. This part called the expanded and Inan. Okay, expansion will be and here. So this part is same exactly and the same as what just now we are talking about. Okay, so meaning that one agent is providing more and they're instructing the capital together. Now, let's say what I can explain like this one. Let's say we do partnership with Dr. Dimas, for example. Let's say I contribute, let's say 60%. Okay, let's say Dr. Dimas is contribute, let's say 40%. Okay, let's say Dr. Dimas is bringing something from Indonesia to what they call to Istanbul, for example. We are talking about this one in ancient times. Now we have the bank, we have everything, we have phone call, we can do that. But you can imagine, during what they call is like 100 years ago, 200 years ago, for example, there is no phone call, there is no fax, there is no communication at all. Okay, let's say then we contribute, let's say, put me this way, 60,000. Okay, 60,000. Let's say Dr. Dimas is contributing 40,000. When we come to what they call 30, Let's say he wants to buy something from Turkey, wants to bring back to Indonesia, for example. Then he came to know here what they call the things is very expensive. Let's say it become like 150,000. Okay, 150,000. Then what happened now? This money is not enough. Okay, the 100,000 not enough because I mean if he can buy this one, he will get more cheaply. So what he can do, he can top up from his pocket another, let's say 30,000, 20,000 for example. Okay, now still not enough. Okay, still not enough. Now he can call in another partner. Okay, another partner. This will be the new partner. Ask him to contribute another 30,000 in Istanbul. Okay, in Istanbul, because he cannot go back like empty-handed. So he has to, I mean, buy this commodity and bring back to Indonesia to sell in Indonesia, for example. Okay, I repeat again. I think this is better put me this way. Maybe I can say like, this is, let's say, Dr. Dimas. Okay, this is Dr. Dimas. This is the student of the Dr. Dimas, for example. This is the student. Okay, pelajar. Okay, student Dimas. So I mean, they form the partnership. Then the student, they come to Istanbul to buy something. Then he came to know the thing is very expensive. Then that student and the top up another 20,000. Now the student, they know me, Dr. Buerhan, can you contribute the 30,000? Okay, then I contribute, let's say here, 30,000. So all together will be 150,000. Now, after that, what they call is bring back to Indonesia and sell in Indonesia, for example, make some profit. So how to contribute this profit? Last in, first out. So meaning that they have to give to this 30,000 first. Then after that is that 20,000 first, the profit. You see, if any profit have to give me first, then after that they have to, the principal, I mean the agent or student, they have to take his, I mean what they call profit according to the additional capital. Then the remaining capital, remaining profit, they can share between Dr. Dimas. I know this one little bit complicated, their student. That's why they call expanded Inan. Okay, expanded Inan. Let me simply go one more time. Let's say Dr. Dimas and the student, they form the partnership, Inan partnership. Then the student come to Turkey to buy something, not enough. Then they have to contribute some money. Still not enough, then ask from Dr. Buerhan to contribute to this partnership. So if any profit, I mean, last in, first out. Last in, first out, meaning that this one will be last in. So it has to be first out. Then after that, I mean, the student, they have to share the profit according to, I mean, his and the fresh capital. Then remaining profit, they can share between Dr. Dimas. Okay, but I mean, if it's a loss, it's based on capital contribution, their student. Okay, so this is called the expanded and the Inan. So 1 and 2 partners, okay, the 2 partners entrusted to P2 as the agent. Let's say that the student of Dr. Dimas. Okay, then I mean the partner 2 will be contribute his own fresh capital to become, I mean what they call K1, K2 and P2, K2. This is coming from and the P2. So they will make an expanded Inan. P2 will make the separate contract with what they call third party as well. So will be and added. So total capital will be, this is from Dr. Dimas, this is from that student, this is the student's additional capital, this is coming from Dr. Buerhan, for example, in Istanbul. Okay, so meaning that profit declaration will be first declared to me. Okay, then P2 has to declare his what they call share according to the new additional capital. Then the remaining will be share according to mutual agreement between P2 and the P1 and the P2. So profit according to mutual and agreement. Okay, mutual agreement, but other school will be according to capital contribution. But loss, there is no issue. It has to be according to capital contribution to all the partners. So these are some what they call historical product is in an Ottoman archive is find out. I mean, this is also Prof. Murat Çizakçı, that's a historian of what they call Islamic economics in Turkey. That is actually, this one is taken from that book from Islamic Capitalism. I mean that in the beginning, Dr. Dimas is mentioned. So this kind of the contract is available in the Ottoman archive. So meaning that during the Ottoman archive, I mean what they call this kind of the historical product and found out actually. Okay, now we come to birth of and evolution of modern Islamic banking. Okay, so Islamic finance considered to be 5 basic and the principle. I think you know that. I mean, ban of interest, that is must, and also ban of uncertainty and speculation. Okay, like this one, you know that as well. And the ban of the certain product, this one you know as well. Okay, profit and loss sharing must be prevail as well. Okay, parties to financial transaction must be share the risk and the reward. But unfortunately, the current one is not. Okay, each financial transaction must be referring to tangible identified underlying asset. You see importance of underlying asset as well. Okay, so meaning that now we are obeying this one, we obey and this one, we obey this one as well, we obeying, I'm following this one, but come to profit and loss sharing in Islamic banking and finance, we are not following and this one actually. Okay, now we try to look at this. Dr. Dimas, we should continue or?
Yeah, you have until 4:30, doctor. So you still have under 10 minutes, inshallah, 10-15 minutes.
Okay, okay, good, good. Now we try to look at, I mean, how this one can be formed. Liabilities of Islamic bank, we can divide it into 2 windows. This is again is proposal there, student. Okay, this is not like the current practice. The current practice we will look at next week. Okay, I will show it to you how the mortgage is calculated, how the car financing is calculated, how Al-Rahan finance calculated. I mean, my contribution, to be honest, dear student, many textbooks just explain concept and the structure, but I try to include the pricing as well. So the pricing we will look at next week as well. How amortization is applied in Islamic banking, how, I mean, the rule 78 is applied for Islamic banking, and so on and so forth. So it will be very clear next week as well. Okay, today, I mean, again, is proposal by Islamic economists actually. Okay, now let's look at this one. A liability of Islamic bank divided into 2 windows, demand deposit and investment deposit. Okay, so model has 100% reserve requirement for demand deposit. What does it mean, this one, dear student? You see, actually Dr. Dimas also mentioned last week. Now what they call the fractional banking system or fractional reserves and system, whatever deposit we have, okay, let's say we put the deposit, they just keep some portion, let's say 5 to 6%. The remaining is lending out. Okay, remaining is lending out. But this model says, I mean, if it is for just demand deposit, 100% reserve requirement, let's say we have to keep as in the bank, okay? And no reserve requirement for investment window, okay? So meaning that this is demand deposit, this is the investment and the deposit. So meaning that we can keep this demand deposit in the bank, but no need to keep this investment deposit for the investment and the purposes. This is because of demand deposit is amana and the trust deposit. Okay, so the bank may not use them as basis for money creation. You see, money creation. This is important concept. I think Dr. Imas maybe explained during the class as well through the fractional and the reserve. So meaning that what they call demand deposit, we don't use as a basis for money creation. So investment deposit, however, invested with full knowledge of the depositors that I mean the fund invested in the risky and the project. That's why there is no guarantee is guaranteed. Okay, no guarantee guaranteed. So like this, dear student, you see, Mudarib, depositors 1, depositors 2, depositors 3, and so on and so forth. So this is the Islamic bank as the Mudarib. Okay, then they will combine the profit. Okay, sorry, they will combine the capital. Then what they call, if any, what they call is profit, they can share according to mutual and agreement. Okay, mutual agreement. If any loss is belong to what they call is depositors. So this, okay, this is what they call is the liability side. Okay, liability side. Now we try to get asset side, financing side, or the one after we get the deposit, we have to finance. Now we come to the finance side. We can use like what they call Murabaha. unfortunately, many countries in the world, including Malaysia or Indonesia or Turkey, most of the countries in Turkey also yesterday, I came to know more than 85%, okay, more than 85% using what they call is Murabaha actually. Okay, in the modern Islamic banking and finance, Murabaha is utilized as mode of asset financing. Asset financing. You see, asset financing meaning that we buy something and we sell something. So the purchase price is markup price, which is made known to the before the transaction. So Islamic financial institution executing the Mudarabah, Murabaha is expected to furnish purchase order with full and correct information on the cost and the profit. Okay, so Murabaha compromising several other. I think I don't want to explain what's Murabaha because I think Dr. Dimas is explained in the class like this. So we got the money from investment the account just now in the from the liability side. Now in the asset side, they can do Murabaha or they can do Mudarabah as well with the entrepreneurs. But unfortunately, right now we are just doing Murabaha only. But we encouraging they should to do Mudarabah as well, so that you know both sides will be like, I mean liability side also Mudarabah, then asset side also will be Mudarabah actually. Okay, so this is something I'm rushing a little bit. So conclusion will be modern Islamic banking and finance facing the tough challenges from the conventional and the sector. So they are under the pressure to provide depositors a rate of return to compensate with the conventional competitors they provide as well. Okay, so there is huge need to introduce complete Sharia compliant or even better Sharia based instrument to evaluate the needs of the savers. Okay, so this is, I mean, because of time actually, that is my explanation for today. So basically this is the proposal. Okay, through proposal, how look like the Islamic banking will be. If, I mean, Dr. Dimas still invite me the next week, I can give more on the current and the practice. I mean, how the deposit side and how financing side, they can do that actually. So with that, will be end of my presentation. And thank you, everyone. Sorry, actually, Dr. Dimas also didn't request. I also forgot. I forgot to share the slides actually. I will share the slide with Dr. Dimas. So Dr. Dimas maybe share with you the slides as well. Okay, dear student, that will be end of my presentation. Then if you have any question, you can ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Buerhan. Very highly appreciated presentations, clear and inspiring always. The mind of us about the current practice of Islamic banking and finance. Okay, because the time is so limited, I open the floor, question and answer sessions. And this topic actually is very interesting by looking at the what the product offered by Islamic banking actually in many parts of the world. And Dr. Buerhan mentioned about the bigger domination of Murabaha or selling and buying contract in the basket of Islamic banking financing in Indonesia in particular. Right now, Doctor, by the way, we have Indonesia, we have around more than 60% of our composition of the financing in the form of Murabaha. And the rest are in the form of Musyarakah, Mudarabah, Salam, and Istithna. And but interestingly, Dr. Buerhan, in the case of Indonesia right now, the composition of Murabaha and Musyarakah is increasing actually. So we have a trend that the portion of Murabaha and Musyarakah is improving time by time. So it doesn't mean maybe perhaps the awareness of the either in the perspective of bank or in the perspective of customers are getting better by looking at what should be the contract of Islamic banking actually. So I think the partnership contract is the best contract because they attract not only just one side but also the other side and creating more values in terms of the real sectors. Yeah,
I think that is your last statement is very important, Anna, Doctor, actually. So the main purpose, not, I mean, everything based on partnership, but at least composition of Mudarabah Murabaha, Ijara, not everything on what they call, I mean, they still can use like 60% of Murabaha, for example, but at least like 20% of the partnership, maybe 10% for, I mean, your last statement is very, very important. I like it. We have to support the rail sector, actually. That is very important, I mean, highlight, actually. Thank you, Doctor.
Okay. Okay, Doctor, we have one question here from sister here. If I may read in the chat. Assalamualaikum, Dr. Buerhan. I would like to ask some question. What would be the best Islamic contract that suit to be implemented by the modern firm, whether shirkah or any other mode of contract? Thank you. It is from Sister Rida Rosida from Bandung
okay.
here, actually.
Okay,
yeah,
thank you, thank you,
okay.
Sister. I think is briefly, I think Dr. Dimas partially answered to your questions as well. Even I already partially answered to your question. So meaning that actually we are not against Murabaha or Ijara actually, okay? But there is something is actually I want to explain this one next week. But put me this way, okay? Put me this way. I really now is okay, resume. Okay, actually I want to show it to you something, here the main problem, what you call the sister in Islamic bank, even though there is asset, but that's not the main purpose of what our need. You got my point or not? For example, I want to buy house. Okay, I want to buy house. I have to buy palm oil. In the case of Malaysia, for example, in the case of the Tawarruk. Okay, Tawarruk home financing, for example. Actually, I will explain this one next week as well. So meaning that actually, even though we say Murabaha, but that is what they call the underlying asset is the one, not the one we needed. Okay, let's say in order to buy the house, I have to buy the palm oil from the bank. This is disaster in Islamic finance, dear student. Why? Dr. Dimas also mentioned just now, it has to be financing the rail sector. Let's say I want to buy house. The bank, they should sell the house. I want to buy car. The bank should sell the car. For example, I'm just giving as an example. I want to buy something, they have to sell that commodity, for example. You got my point on that. So meaning that we don't against, I mean, Murabaha, Ijara, or some other sale contract, but it has to be based on the rail demand, not like manipulating the transaction. Now I'm in the current financial system manipulating the transaction. For example, I don't know in Indonesia, for example, but in Malaysia, for example, I want to buy the house, I have to buy palm oil. What I am going to do with that palm oil? Okay, and also the circulating the same commodity again and again, actually. You got my point on it. So that's why, I mean, I don't against sale contract, but I against the one manipulated sale contract. Okay, but in Turkey, for example, even though Islamic finance is small, but they're financing the rail and needs, for example, okay, as basis of the Murabaha. So for example, okay, again, that's why I'm saying that, sister, we can use Mudarabah, we can use Musharaka, or we can use Murabaha, but it has to be not focusing on only one. In order to, because of the safety, I know the safety is important for the bank, but at least we open up like, I mean, maybe 10% or like 15% to partnership contracts as well, actually. So I like the last statement of Dr. Dimas, it has to be financing the rail sector. Okay, if you ask me what's the difference between the is conventional finance, Islamic finance, and in both cases, they are looking for some profit. But in Islamic finance, they're supposed to be financing the rail sector. Rail sector and financing sector, they should move together, actually. So meaning that, to your question, I don't say, okay, this is the best contract for Islamic finance. No, it can be like several contracts, but like better and the composition, and also the need for the rail sector or the rail finance, actually. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Dimas.
Okay, thank you, Bu Rida. I hope your question has been answered by Doctor. And the next one, Dr. Buerhan, we have so many questions here, actually, from our sister here, Nita. Dr. Buerhan, I would like to ask question related to the Sirkah Inan. Is capital only in the form of money? Can it be in the other form, for example, expertise?
I think that is also one of the important, a very good question, actually, basically. It can be also physical asset, but we have to evaluate what will be the value of the asset. You know, maybe let's say you have the car, one of your friend, you have car, for example. Maybe your car, you can use that one for example, as like a mode of the transportation, for example. Let's say without the car, we cannot do. So this is also, we discuss it, in our classes as well. Let's say Dr. Dimas is contribute, let's say 50,000. The other party is contributing, let's say, physical capital. How they're going to contribute this, the money. So that's why we have to value the physical asset first, how much it is. Okay, it's 20,000, 30,000 or 50,000. Then after that, we easy to what they call is contribute their profit as well. So meaning that what I want to say here actually is because Islam doesn't like the ambiguities, or they don't like the uncertainties actually. Let's say I contribute my land, you contribute just 30,000, then you want to get more, for example. That's not possible because we are contributing our land, for example, as a form of the partnership. So it can be, but we have to value, in terms of what they call the money. That is my my suggestion actually. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Buerhan. So Sister Nita, Dr. Buerhan mentioned that even though you will contribute in the form of expertise or physical asset, you need to value your asset, yeah, so that it is very easy for us in the end of the day, if you want to share, to share the profit, to share the loss, so that it can be counted, yeah, very easy. Yeah,
exactly.
That is the intention of Dr. Buerhan. So it doesn't matter. That's fine. Okay, Dr. Buerhan, we have the third question here from the student of UMY. Maybe he is a new student actually. So Brother Madiba from Africa here, Dr. Buerhan. So our student from Africa. I want to ask about how did Islamic banks survive without the presence of interest rate? So without interest rate, and also it is acceptable for the Islamic bank to reinvest the customer deposit to trade with other business and make profit. So it's a very interesting question actually for the new students. Please,
without interest, right? She's saying that.
Right.
Okay. Okay. I think last week also I mentioned, Islam doesn't like, doesn't against the debt. Okay, doesn't against the debt. So meaning that if we say Islam against the debt, we no need to do Islamic banking. But last week also I mentioned Islam is against how that is created. Okay, if based on interest rate, for example, let's say I sell money for money. Okay, that is definitely is out of the what they call is the question. Now, without an interest rate, okay, I want to tell you like this. How I can share my slide now? Stop sharing. Resume the shares. How I just want to write something and I try to explain. Okay, so put me this way. How I can share the slide.
Just please stop first and then reshare, Doctor.
Okay, but anyway, what I want to say here actually, last week I mentioned one of the build and sell, for example. You got the point on that. So for example, build and sell, let's say one company, okay, let's say I told you last week as well, there is called Emlak Konut. That's the largest, what they call this construction company in Turkey. Housing construction. So they can do the construction. Now what they can do, they have the bank. Okay, they have the bank. Now they sell to their customer, for example. Now let's say if they're built by the construction company, let's say they sell for 200,000. Now they sell to the customer without the interest rate, let's say 300,000. It's okay because any businesses, for example, I built, let's say I make this one, I make this one to 2 ringgit, then I want to sell to 3 ringgit. That is all the kind of the business is doing it, right? We cannot call this one as the interest, okay? Because I built this one for 2 ringgit, then I want to sell for $3, for example, sorry. Okay, then what my point is here is they should build and sell. If they build and sell, let's say they sell for 200,000. Now they want to sell the house to 300,000. Then you just pay by the installment without the interest rate. So this one can be one of the way they're student. And also, like in Turkey also, there is another interesting what they call is Islamic social finance as well. Let's say there are 50 people, they can come together. I mean, let's say each of them contributing, let's say each month is, let's say 1,000. So one person will get the house first. Then the second month, another person will get another house. And the third month will get another person get house, and so on and so forth, without the interest. Okay, without going to the bank even as well. So meaning that, dear sister, what they call is we don't want to sell money for money. We really want to, again, to finance the rail sector. And what will be the profit rate? Okay, profit rate, of course, unfortunately nowadays, we are benchmarking interest rate, unfortunately. Okay, interest rate is 10%, we are charging also and at 10%. And this is also very Sharia question, okay, Sharia question. Even Taqi Osmani is allowing benchmarking interest rate is like allowing in Islam as well, okay? I mean, that is something is, of course, as a scholar, I respect him, but the idea how true it is until today, I cannot, get. So meaning that, just as I said, like it can be like build and sell. We build ourselves, then the sell. But the law has to be recognized this one first, actually. So there are possibilities, but what I want to say in the brief, dear sister, there has to be profit rate. Okay, profit rate, because Islamic banking also not like what they call is charitable organizations, actually. Their intention also to make money and also creating the values. As Dr. Dimas said, not selling money for money, but by financing the rail sector, they can create some values. Thank you. That is, my answer to you, actually.
Thank you, Dr. Buerhan. Very clear answer, Brother Madiba just now. So Islamic Bank, inshallah, still can survive by taking the exchange of money with real goods. Yeah. And the second one is the contract that conducted by Islamic Bank must be connected with the financing side. So there's a connection between the funding and financing side. Differently with the conventional part, whatever the money that the bank has should not be somehow connected with what the financing conducted. So somehow is discrepancy happens. Therefore, if that happens in Islamic banks, the money that they get will be equal or equivalent with what they give to the depositor side. So in that case, the monetary and real sectors are connected. It is the main essence of Islamic finance spirit, actually, the connection between these two spirits, these two sectors that's somehow missing in conventional counterparts. I hope you understand that, Brother Madiba, what Dr. Buerhan mentioned, inshallah.
MashaAllah,
okay.
MashaAllah. You are very knowledgeable as well, brother. MashaAllah, I'm amazed. Very good, very good.
Okay,
which
so,
university you graduated from?
From UAE.
UAE, wow, okay, good. Which year?
I started my PhD in 2012 and then graduated 2018.
Wow, 18.
Yeah.
Kuliah or IIBF?
In Kuliah of Economics and Management Sciences.
Who was your supervisor?
Professor Saiti.
Oh, okay. Small world. Oh, mashallah. Okay. Very good.
Thank you very much, Dr. Buerhan. Okay, any other question, please, dear sisters? We have still another 15 minutes to end the sessions. Or maybe you have any comments regarding what the Dr. Buerhan just now mentioned, please. Clear? Okay, Dr. Buerhan, maybe you have another statement, Dr. Buerhan. Maybe you have another additional comment, additional maybe important point regarding this topic, please.
Thank you, Doctor, and also thanks for the student. I can see there are more than 90 participants actually. I hope that I can give some knowledge actually. Of course, you're not expecting like 100% new and from me as well, because if 100% new, meaning that we have to create something new actually. We have to invent the new wheels or and so on, but it's not possible. But I mean, this is how we can share our ideas and different perspective, and so on and so forth. So don't expecting 100% new from Dr. Buerhan. No, dear student. I mean, Islamic finance is a very small industry right now, and also we try to move forward. And also, I told you just now as well, in the beginning of my presentation last week also, I mentioned actually our intention is supposed to be more on Islamic social finance, how we can promote Islamic social finance, how to bring the brotherhood, how to bring the sisterhood, and this is, supposed to be, actually, I like what they call Indonesia or Malaysia, even the people little bit poor, but the spirituality is very strong actually. So that's why I appreciate this part as well. If our spirituality is very strong, then even though we're physically a little bit poor, but we can live and better. You got my point on that. So that's why I want to say like more on like we have to move forward, but there are many issues and the challenges as well. There will be like laws challenges, there will be regulatory challenges, and so on and so forth. But to me, it's easy to do Islamic finance at social finance in social level, but at institutional level, it takes time to, to move forward actually. So that's why next week, inshallah, I try to give something on what they call the modern Islamic banking and finance, with some what they call mathematics as well, how to compute like selling price, how to selling this one, and so on and so forth. That will be maybe my contribution as well. And also as a gift, I have a very small book when I wrote it when I was in Indonesia. I wrote a book I called Islamic Banking Operation. That one I explain like A to Z, all the deposit product and also financing product. Actually, I can share with you, or I can give a gift to the student, but not for circulation. Not for selling, and so because I just want to highlight the copyright issues actually. Okay, so I can share with you. Maybe you can share with your student, but only for education purposes only. Okay, so that is very book, and also there is like more than 20 or 30,000 of the readers of that book in the research gate as well. It is very simple to understand, and also so I will explain next week deposit operation and financing operation of the modern Islamic banking. So that that is from me. As I promised to Dr. Dimas, maybe we will have 2 more weeks actually. We can continue our sessions actually. With that, thank you guys. And also thanks for your listening. Thank you, Dr. Dimas, as well, for organizing this wonderful session. Actually, it's very difficult to see more than 90 students, in the same sessions, actually. Very good. So maybe one class, I can explain the one religion above the... Actually, I want eager to give that topic also, to tell the student, about the religion above the humanity, or humanity above the religion, So this is, interesting topic as well. So with that, thank you, and see you next week. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Again, we are blessed to have Dr. Buerhan with us for these sessions. Yeah, actually, Dr. Buerhan will be with us until the next week and the next 2 weeks. Yeah, so hopefully you can continue to with us until the 2nd week, so that the process of transfer knowledge is perfectly given by him to all of us about the Islamic banking and finance developments. And we are, inshallah, will be with Dr. Buerhan again next week, next Wednesday, every Wednesday at 3:30 until 5 p.m. Indonesian time, inshallah. And next time, Dr. Buerhan will explain and share with us about the historical product too, particularly looking at the practical aspect of the Islamic banking product in the case of Islamic banking in Indonesia or any part of the world. Okay, Dr. Buerhan, that is all. Thank you very much. And actually, we have the same interest, actually, Dr. Buerhan, with the Islamic banking and finance. Actually, when I was in PhD, I wrote the topic about the resilience of Islamic banking. So the resilience of the banking here, looking at the balance between the asset and liability of Islamic banks. So we are looking at the optimal balance, to what extent the Islamic banking is tolerated to pursue the financing, and to what extent the Islamic banking is tolerated to collect the funds, so that when they are interacted into Islamic banking operations, in the end, they are remain resilient of any internal or external shocks. So inshallah, maybe next time I would like to glad to share with you as well and get your comments concerning with the resilient aspect of Islamic banking in Indonesia particularly. And right now I'm doing a research on Islamic banking resilient in the 34 provinces in Indonesia. So we have 34 provinces, and we are looking the empirical search to what extent the current practice of Islamic banking, and then to what extent the soundness, the healthy of Islamic banks, by looking at their performance in the financing part and the funding side and the operational aspect as well, by building up the index, Dr. Buerhan. Index.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
So maybe
MashaAllah.
I need to get your advice, inshallah.
That is really big research, I guess. I think I can see you are hardworking as well. Inshallah, you will do more, inshallah. Okay, Doctor. So thank you, everyone.
Okay, that's all. Inshallah. Thank you very much, everyone, and see you next week, inshallah. Let me end this session by reciting Hamdalah and Kafatul Majlis. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Thank you very much. Very good afternoon. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Thank you very much, Dr. Buerhan.
Bye-bye.